Good evening, and welcome to the Minooka Community High School National Honor Society induction ceremony. My name is Morgan Moreno, and I'm the Vice President of NHS this year. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to explain the nature of National Honor Society. As one of the most prestigious high school organizations in the country, students must not only maintain a 3.8 GPA, but also demonstrate exemplary character, leadership skills, and service initiation in order to be considered for admittance. Those selected to apply submit an application to the NHS Faculty Council, where each candidate is individually assessed. Once admitted, members are expected to continue to uphold the 4 pillars: character, scholarship, leadership, and service. NHS members are not only challenged on an individual level, but also as a group. Our organization tasks itself with making a difference in our community and within our school. Every year here at MCHS, we host a freshman experience day to help incoming freshmen acclimate to their new environment and overcome the obstacles presented when entering high school. This year, our members hosted a series of virtual events to guide our freshmen through the beginning of their journey at MCHS and build their confidence as they started the school year. At Central Campus, we also maintain a beautiful memorial garden dedicated to all of our lost classmates and faculty members. Within the community, we host numerous events. In the fall, we held an anti-vaping campaign and then a virtual rock and read event to provide some fun entertainment for the children of our community during these trying times. Additionally, we raised money for the American Cancer Society in the month of October with a breast cancer awareness fitness challenge. Every year, NHS holds a fundraiser called Baby It's Cold Outside, which raises money for the Lamb's Fold shelter for women and children. This year, we transformed the event into a successful week of giving, collecting donations, both monetary and material, for the shelter. Due to the circumstances that this pandemic brings, we have changed our 55 and Better dance into a fun-filled virtual bingo night that is coming up this weekend. And we have postponed our amazing Relay for Life event until the spring, which will raise money for the American Cancer Society. All of these events reflect our organization's commitment to responding to the needs of others and bringing everyone together to create good within our community and the world. The students being inducted tonight, with their strong dedication and determination, have been an essential part of NHS this year, contributing vastly to overcoming the challenges of the pandemic in order to continue making a difference within our school and community. We confidently believe that these new members will continue the essential work of this committed organization as the leaders of MCHS and of the future. Now, to kick off the night, I would like to introduce a huge supporter of the National Honor Society, as well as every student's biggest ally, our principal, Dr. Zwemke.
Thank you, Morgan. That's very kind. Good evening. I am Dr. Brian Zwemke, proud principal of Minooka Community High School. On behalf of the administration at Minooka Community High School, I would like to welcome you to a very special and unique event. Tonight, we will induct 75 new members to the National Honor Society, and I'd like to thank our Board of Education and our Superintendent, Dr. Lee, for their support. And I'd also like to give an extensive thank you to Ms. Donna Engel, Mr. Anthony Babbage, for their work and support of National Honor Society. In addition, our officers to my right, who you'll meet later, I'd like to take a quick moment to say thank you to our President, Elena Frazier, Vice President Morgan Moreno, Secretary Ava Bazir, Treasurer Hannah Grace Marty, Historian Mackenzie Clonch, Community Relations Sarah Babiak, and Communications Lainey McMillan. Thank you. The National Honor Society website states, while NHS membership is the true mark of academic achievement, it goes far beyond a report card. All students must also reflect the program's respective pillars to be inducted. ideals such as scholarship, service, leadership, and character. And they must continue demonstrating these pillars within the community throughout their membership. Tonight, you'll hear from one of our faculty members, Mr. Sean Hackney, who exhibits all those pillars, who is an excellent teacher, a wonderful staff member, and a great human being. This stressful year has had a number of terms associated with it. We've called it unprecedented. We've said we're in uncharted waters. It's a fluid situation. We have to pivot. These students have met each and every challenge with grace, compassion, and hope for the future. These new students and our current members are the best and brightest we have to offer at Minooka Community High School, and they make me, MCHS, proud every day. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elena Frazier, and I'm the president of National Honor Society this year. Every year, our NHS recognizes one faculty member at our school that we believe perfectly exemplifies the 4 pillars of NHS: scholarship, character, leadership, and service. This year, the members of NHS could not think of a teacher more deserving of this honor than Mr. Hackney. Mr. Hackney began teaching at MCHS, instructing various English classes, and later became the department chair for English. As a student who got to sit in one of Mr. Hackney's classes last year, I have experienced firsthand how he truly embodies all 4 pillars. Beginning with scholarship. As a student, I always knew that whatever lesson Mr. Hackney was teaching in class would be one that I would not only be able to use in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom in my real life. Instead of just preparing lessons to get us ready for a test, we became more advanced students, learners, and individuals. In terms of character, Mr. Hackney always welcomed students into class with a warm smile and greeting. Mental health was deemed just as important as physical health and grades, and I always knew that English class was somewhere where I wouldn't just be valued as a student, but as a person. In order to allow students to feel this way, Mr. Hackney was clearly an outstanding leader. Unlike classes where the lesson plan moved linearly, in Mr. Hackney's class, the lesson moves in accordance with the lives of each and every student to ensure individual success and continuous learning. Finally, service. Being a teacher in general, in my opinion, is an act of service as you are educating the people that are going to change the world someday. And as a student, I know that Mr. Hackney definitely shaped my life and encouraged me to be the change I wish to see in the world. So, please join me in welcoming Mr. Hackney.
Thank you, Elena. That was way too kind. Good evening. Thank you to the senior members of the MCHS chapter of the National Honor Society for this nomination. I also want to thank Mrs. Engel and Mr. Babbage for their wonderful leadership of this chapter of NHS. I am honored and humbled. Students, the 4 everyday pillars of NHS, scholarship, service, leadership, and character, are an essential part of who you are. That reality is being recognized tonight. But know that these pillars were a part of who you are before tonight, and they will continue to be a part of who you are long after you leave these halls as a graduate of MCHS. Tonight is a milestone in your life to recognize the everyday pillars. Cement them as part of who you are and continue to build on them as you grow older. I know I have. That's part of why I'm honored to be selected by this group as this year's Faculty Member of the Year. I remember when I was 15 years old, a sophomore, I think, I was in an auditorium presentation during my resource period at Antioch Community High School, hearing about the opportunity to apply for NHS someday. I remember being intrigued by the idea, but I didn't think I'd be able to do it. I was just an average student who would become basically a first-generation college student. I never took an honors or AP class in high school. I remember as a junior, one time, I walked into an AP Lit class to deliver a note to the teacher, and students were sitting in a circle discussing a book. Everyone had their book open, and I remember students sharing their thoughts about what they had read. I wanted to be in that class. I remember leaving the room and wondering why I wasn't able to take that class. I remember leaving and thinking about how I wasn't able to take the course, and I wasn't even sure why. My grades were always okay, but honors and AP classes were never an option. I thought accolades like NHS weren't for me. I didn't know it then, but leaving that room, I was excited about the excitement of academic scholarship, just like I was when I first heard about NHS in that presentation as a sophomore. I think that is why I am now so passionate as a teacher and administrator about making sure all students have access to the courses they and their families want them to take. Regardless, I did fairly well in the courses I did take, made service and leadership a priority, and tried to live life as an example of good character the way my parents taught me. I, in fact, was inducted into my high school's chapter of NHS October 29th, 1999. I looked it up. Honestly, I couldn't believe that it's still on the internet. I was about 50 pounds lighter then, and I think an inch taller. I remember being so happy that day. My family was with me. I was being recognized for an everyday commitment to scholarship, service, leadership, and character, just as you are today. Reflecting now, as someone who has continued to dedicate many aspects of my life to the everyday pillars, I know that what I was recognized for on that day in 1999 was just one milestone. The result of the fire lit in me long before that day by my family and those who believed in me. A fire that has continued to stoke the past 21 years. When it came to school, my family was always a huge support and encouraged me to do my best. I mentioned that I am a first-generation college student, so the support I received at home was well-intentioned, with a push that made sure I knew I would go to college someday, without a lot of know-how of what I would need to actually do to get there. My parents modeled service and character for me in these ways. I'm sure in many of the same ways your parents and families have modeled them for you. Some of my favorite memories of my mom and me are when we would sit on the couch together to study for a test. And by the way, I remember doing so poorly on some of those tests. But when I did well in school, it excited me. My dad would work long hours and I wouldn't see him much during the week. But he and my mom, through their service to our family and emphasis on character, instilled in me a drive to work hard. I come from a long line of hard workers. For example, one of my grandpas could fix anything with his hands, and he left school after the second grade and left to make his way on his own at 11 years old. One of the bittersweet realities of education for me was that I didn't fit the, quote, Hackney mold. As I studied more, the things I was thinking about and wanted to talk about were just not what anyone else wanted to talk about at home. Of course, my family was gracious with me, oftentimes nodding along just to appease whatever ideas I just learned about in class. That's the curse of a first-generation college student, I think, not being understood sometimes. Another curse is that I was often relegated to holding the flashlight whenever my dad and grandpa were working on fixing something. I would joke that if they needed a poem read aloud, I could do it, but ask me for the socket wrench and I would surely bring the wrong tool. I'm only slightly kidding. As I've gotten older, my dad and grandpa's instincts have rubbed off on me a bit, and I'm actually quite average at fixing things now, and I'll take that. I want to return back to the point I was trying to make about how you are on a path forward where you'll be presented with many opportunities to be a leader by continuing to serve, demonstrating expertise as a scholar or practitioner, and highlighting strong character in your lives. Embrace these everyday pillars. What you do in life may change, but if you hold on to a few non-negotiables, your path will be straight. I remember as a college student, I was set to apply for law school. I had just finished a major in political science and a minor in English. I was home for a weekend and my dad knew something wasn't quite right. One night he came into my room and we talked about where I had come from and where I was going. He told me that he didn't think I'd be happy as a lawyer and that I needed to teach. It's funny how parents know these things. I ended up staying in school, turned my minor in English into a second major, and became an English teacher. I love my job. Of course, there are difficult days, but I love to get to do my job. And you know what? I don't teach English. I've got an opportunity to teach scholarship, service, leadership, and character. In addition to teaching these pillars by what I have students read and write, I also have made it a point to continue these on my own. I make it a point to maintain expertise in my field of scholarship. I read and study profusely how to teach. I write articles and submit them for publication because I believe the work of education is critical and needs to continue to be strengthened. Along with serving my students each year, my job as an English department chair allows me to serve while leading 21 English teachers. The way I serve and lead is a mindset, a choice that is influenced by the character my parents helped develop in me all those years ago. Now I have support of my own family. My wife, Lindsay, my children, Bennett, Mira, and Felicity bring me so much joy and have supported me in my career and have put up with me as I've earned 2 master's degrees and I'm getting ready to begin doctoral studies. I have the honor of having the responsibility to show my children what it looks like to live the everyday pillars. Just like my family did for me growing up, just like your families do for you. Stories can be powerful, and I love what we have each day, and I love that we have each day to continue to write our own stories. You already embody the everyday pillars. That is why you're receiving this prestigious honor of joining the National Honor Society. I encourage you to view tonight as a milestone in your path forward of continuing to embody scholarship, service, leadership, and character, no matter where you end up. There's a poem that I love that I'll leave you with part of tonight. Seamus Heaney, an Irish poet who comes from a long line of farmers, writes about the qualities he noticed in his family and how those qualities have been passed to him. The bittersweet reality of moving your family's story forward, acknowledging the hard work that your parents and family have contributed for you, and the excitement that they get to participate with you in your moment tonight and watch and support you as you continue to do wonderful things. Haney says, quote, "By God, the old man could handle a spade, just like his old man. My grandfather cut more turf in a day than any other man on Toner's bog. Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked sloppily with paper. He straightened up to drink it, then fell to right away, nicking and slicing neatly, heaving sods over his shoulder, going down and down for the good turf, digging. The cold smell of potato mold, the squelch and slap of soggy peat, the curt cuts of an edge through living roots awaken in my head. But I've no spade to follow men like them. Between my finger and my thumb, the pen rests. I'll dig with it." Thank you.
Officers, you want to go right down by the banner? Right. Officers, I'll ask you to come back to the stage, please. Inductees, on behalf of the NHS Faculty Council, Mr. Babbage, and our current membership, I wish to congratulate you on your selection and welcome you to our chapter of the National Honor Society. This month marks a significant milestone for the NHS as we are celebrating 100 years of our global organization, which recognizes the attributes of scholarship, leadership, character, and service in students. For 100 years, the motto of our organization has been "Nobility Obliges." Let's focus for a moment on what this statement means. As an organization, we are morally bound to a course of action. For us, this course of action is to serve our school and our community and to uphold the highest standards of scholarship, leadership, and moral character. Why are we called to this action? Because we are noble. We stand together for a brilliant purpose. We let our inner light shine within our school and community. We use our gifts for a noble cause. We reach out our hands, our hearts, and our minds to those needing our support, our kindness, and our willingness to share in the burden of life. At our own school, this chapter has stood strong for 56 years. What once began with 12 members in 1965 has now grown to over 130 members, still striving each day to fulfill the motto of our national organization. Inductees, tonight you add to the brilliance of our chapter. Congratulations. It is the tradition of our chapter to formally install our acting officers at our induction ceremony. Since elections last May, these officers have worked diligently to uphold the principles of our chapter as well as the pillars of our society. Each officer will please come forward as I read your name and title and light your candle. Elena Frazier, President. Morgan Moreno, Vice President. Ava Bazaar, Secretary. Hannah Grace Marty, Treasurer. Mackenzie Claunch, Historian. Sarah Babiak, Community Relations. Lainey McMillan, Communications. As a collective, you represent our chapter's executive board. You will decide the goals and activities for our chapter this year. As a leadership team, you have a great responsibility for the fate of our organization, its ideals, and its well-being. As leaders and role models, your goal is to make our chapter of NHS a shining light in our school and our community. Officers, will you pledge to uphold the pillars of NHS with every decision you make? Will you pledge to support your advisors, your members, and your school? If so, please respond, "I will." On behalf of our current members and new inductees, in every organization, there are those who lead and those who follow. You have elected these officers to represent our executive board this year. Will you pledge to support these officers, to work alongside each of them, and to continue to uphold the pillars of our society? And I will respond for them with, "They will." I am happy to declare you as the Executive Board of the National Honor Society for the 2020-2021 school year. Congratulations. Okay, now we can go that way. And we're ready.
The first pillar is scholarship. Scholarship means dedication to learning. It is an academic study of high level. Scholarship is important because it is an essential place in advancement, both on personal and societal levels. Driven by curiosity, a student spends hours in reading and study. After all, the outcome is a cultivated mind filled with knowledge. Knowledge is that great element in life that leads to the highest achievements, but it can only be acquired through diligence. Furthermore, learning allows us to inspect the past and contemplate the future. National Honor Society candidates have the charge to continually expand the world and themselves through opportunities inherent in scholarship.
Leadership. Leadership should exert a wholesome influence on the school. In taking the initiative in class and school activities, the real leader strives to train and aid others to attain the same objective. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for the interests of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. Leadership is always needed. Thus, to lead is an essential charge to each of our members.
Character. Character is the force that shapes an individual's personality, determines the actions that he or she will make, and helps to distinguish that individual from others. Without proper character, no one can truly respect oneself, nor hope to attain the respect of others. It is the force of character that guides one through life, and, when once developed, grows steadily. However, this is not an attribute that one can just receive. Rather, it is a nature that a person must achieve through his or her actions, hard work, and the way he or she interacts with others. To maintain a respectful character, we as individuals must be aware of self-control. We must be in reality as to how we wish to appear to others. By demonstrating such qualities as respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, honesty, and a positive attitude, we may hope to prove by example that we value character. Service, the selfless act of enthusiastically offering one's time and talent for the betterment of the school or the community. National Honor Society members seize every opportunity to help those in need without expecting compensation or recognition in return. No matter how difficult the task, NHS members willingly work with others and sacrifice their time to enrich the lives of others. An earnest desire to work for the improvement of the community embodies the spirit of National Honor Society. Chloe Anderson. Samantha Bowen. Anna Baranski. Kendall Franklin. Grace Carlson. Emma DeBias. Carly Earhart. Julie Conroy. Reagan Caher. Abigail Arnold. Bria Duncan. Hannah Beitler. Cheyenne Bishop. Jacob Conroy. Shayla Duty. Jordan Bobin. Haley Benfield. Taylor Farillo. Audrey Bowles. Elizabeth Buss. Thomas English. Maria Esparza. Oh. Greg Gomez. Shay Johnston. Emily Ingmanson. Riley Hickey. Olivia Christoph. Paola Garcia. Mackenzie Johnstone. Sarah McLaughlin. Kiana Gubbins. Matthew McDonald. Allison Murphy. Damian Leipold. Lewis Johnson. Jenna Lakin. Kellyanne Lotta. Cole Kicks. Vanessa Marquez. Olivia Dramalowitz.
Megan Hugonin. Evelyn Maruzak. Jocelyn Host. Sabira Hassan. Is that it? Landon Warner. Ava Toronto. Paige Pry. Samantha Smith. You just keep walking. Owen Skogland. Sunshine Offerman. Zoe Razakowski. Emily Odette. Alexa Palicki. Gabriella Russos. Jillian Olson. Daniel Schalk. Nathan Van Dree. Abraham Rodriguez. Ian Talley. Brianna Ramsey. Sarah Rush. Elise Pettigrew. Sierra Perez. Dylan Rodriguez. Emma Thompson. Madeline Press. Delaney Nicoletti.